Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Roland Wright, the dice game. Roland Wright is brought to you by Perplexed. It's for 2 to 5 players, ages 13 and up, and games ranging anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. In this game, you are Roland Wright, a game designer obsessed with dice games. You're going to bring all your inspiration and skills to bear in order to create the most stunning, the most spectacular dice game ever and win the Game of the Year awards. And so the object here, on your turn, you'll be selecting from a pool of dice. You'll be coloring in those matching dots, otherwise known as bits, onto your player board, and creating patterns in your bit box in order to get the most points at the end of the game and become the ultimate designer. All right, let's take a quick look at setup. Each player is going to receive a player board. This player board has your bit box that you'll be coloring in. It has a list of the actions you can perform and where you'll be scoring your points. You're going to take the award deck, shuffle it up, and deal 3 to the table. Each player will receive 1 yellow inspiration card. And then you're going to shuffle up the Hallmark deck and the equipment deck. You're going to deal 3 cards of each to each player. Those players will then pick 1 of each and discard the rest. And then finally, you'll take the research and development deck, shuffle it up and put it in the center of the table as well, and place the dice and pins within easy access for all players. And now you're ready to begin. All right, so before we jump into gameplay, which is very straightforward, let's take a look at some of these cards because you have to understand, why am I filling in these bits? Why does it matter where I put these dots? Well, go take a look at your Hallmark card for one. It's maybe the key card that you're going to be trying to get points from. This card will outline a pattern that you're trying to create on your board. Now, there's going to be actions that allow you to move these dots around and things, but your core idea here is you're creating patterns from the Hallmark cards. You're going to be looking at your equipment cards. You're going to be looking at your inspiration cards for end of the game scoring. You're going to be looking at the award cards also out on the table. All these things you're keeping in mind as you're creating patterns and going after those ultimate points. Also, the research and development cards are going to add even more. The one neat thing about the equipment cards is once you complete one of those, then they have extra actions you can perform at the bottom as well. Okay, like I said, gameplay here is very straightforward. The first thing you're going to do as the active player is take the dice and roll them. It is a roll and write after all. You're going to sort those dice into their respective colored groups. And once you do that, then the active player gets to decide which of those groups they get to use exclusively. Now, one exception here is when you roll those dice, if you roll 4 or more of the same color, well, you have to split that up. You can only ever have 3 of the same color in a group. All right, so the active player will get their dice. Everybody else at the table will then choose from whatever's left in the pool. So everyone then goes to their board and fills in the colors wherever they want in their bit box. And again, obviously you're going after those patterns that of the cards you're holding in your hand. Also on your turn, you get to perform 1 action. And there's a whole slew of standard actions that you can tap into, which are listed on your player board. But as you achieve or complete equipment cards, those equipment cards are going to get tucked under your player board, revealing additional actions that you might tap into, but you still only get to perform 1 action on your turn. So let's take a closer look at the standard actions. The first one is copy and connect. You have to find a red in your bit box somewhere, you erase it. That allows you to duplicate another color that's out somewhere in your bit box, but it has to connect. It has to be placed next to the color that you're copying. And then we're going to look at move. This is interesting because what you do is you erase an orange color somewhere in your bit box, and then you pick another color, erase it, and move it to somewhere else in your bit box. So there's a lot of shifting and moving going on. And then the yellow is interesting as well because it allows you to place any other color there. So you erase the yellow, but you have to place the new color where the yellow was. The green, blue, and purple bits are all about acquiring new cards in your hand. And the green and blue are going to work very similar. Purple's a little different, research and development. But green and blue are about acquiring more Hallmark cards or more equipment cards. And in both cases, if you erase the green, then you're going to pull 3 Hallmark cards into your hand. And if you erase the blue, you're going to pull 3 equipment cards into your hand. In either case, you have to pick one and discard the rest. Now, for purple, research and development, you erase a purple out on the board, out on your bit box. It's going to allow you to pull 1 research and development card. Now you have a couple choices here. You can use the bits on the card in your bit box, or you can save the card for more points at the end of the game. It's your choice, and really there's a nice balance here because you are after points after all. Another thing you're looking for on your turn is card completion. You look at your bit box, you look at the cards in your hand. Does the pattern in the bit box match anything or multiple things in your hand? If it does, then there's a couple different things here. So equipment cards we touched on. You complete an equipment card, it tucks under your player board, revealing what another possible action you might take down the road, or even now if you haven't done an action yet. Also, if you complete a hallmark card, that card then goes face down next to your player board. And of course, then that opens up your bit box to be changed and modified for future turns. And of course, card completion is all about gaining more points for scoring at the end of the game. And the development chart at the bottom of your player board, it awards a bonus bit after the completion of 3 specific lines. You know, a vertical line, a horizontal edge, and a diagonal center. So this is a way to get another bit in your bit box. And so the game end is triggered when one player has 3 or fewer slots open in their bit box. Then you'll play one more round and calculate score. You'll calculate from your inspiration card, hallmark, research and development, equipment cards, and the award cards that are out on the table. And the player board has a spot on the side to track all your points, along with the bonus points that you might receive. So you're going to pull all those together and total them out, and then whoever has the most is going to be the ultimate game designer. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been the Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, that said, this is a Roland Wright with a lot of unique things going on and some really interesting choices to be made throughout the game. But ultimately, folks, if this looks like a game that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.